A few years ago, I bought a beautiful piece of land tucked into the woods near a quiet mountain lake. It came with an old but sturdy cabin, tons of pine trees, and something pretty rare for the area, a private bridge that crossed a narrow creek leading to a dozen other cabins. That bridge was technically on my property. It had been built decades ago by the original owner, and over time it became the only access road into the little lakeside enclave. When I bought the land, the bridge deed came with it. No easement agreements, no shared ownership, just mine. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who waves paperwork in people's faces. I let neighbors come and go freely. After all, I wasn't trying to play gatekeeper to the wilderness. Everyone just assumed the bridge was part of some community property, and I didn't bother correcting them. Then the HOA got involved. A new president had taken over. Brenda, who had the energy of a hall monitor with too much coffee and too little purpose. She'd recently moved into one of the cabins on the other side of the creek and wasted no time reshaping the HOA like a mini-government. Weekly emails, surprise inspections, and compliance fines for things like rustic paint jobs and firewood stacks that weren't aesthetically arranged. I mostly ignored the nonsense. My cabin was technically just outside the formal HOA jurisdiction by maybe 30 feet. But that didn't stop Brenda. One weekend I came up to my cabin for a little fishing and quiet time, but as I approached the bridge in my truck, I slammed on the brakes. There were orange cones blocking the entrance. A freshly printed sign, zip-tied to a makeshift barrier, read, "Bridge closed to non-HOA members. Trespassers will be fined." I stepped out, baffled. My name was even written in Sharpie at the bottom of the sign, listed as a non-compliant property owner. Now, I don't get angry quickly, but I do get meticulous. I calmly removed the sign and the cones, drove across the bridge, and parked. Then I walked down to Brenda's cabin. She came out onto her porch with a smug smile. "If you've come to discuss your non-HOA compliance, you can speak during next month's board meeting." I smiled back. "Actually, I came to let you know that blocking my property is illegal, especially since you used my bridge to do it." She blinked. "Your bridge?" "Yes," I said, pulling the folded deed papers from my backpack. "This bridge is part of my parcel. You'll notice there's no easement on file with the county either. I've just been kind enough to let the neighborhood use it." Her jaw tensed. "That can't be right." "Oh, it is," I said. "And if you want to verify, you're welcome to look it up at the county recorder's office." "I already did." She crossed her arms. "You can't just cut off access to everyone else." I smiled calmly. "I haven't. But now that you've decided to block me, that might change. I suggest the HOA removes any signs, barriers, or threats immediately. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to install a gate. And the only way anyone will get across will be with my permission." Her face turned pale. "You wouldn't." "I would," I said, "but I'd rather not. Just stop trying to police things you don't own." To her credit, she didn't argue further. I left, and within the hour the signs were gone. The HOA email the next week mentioned a misunderstanding regarding bridge access and assured residents the issue had been resolved. I still let folks cross, of course. Most of them are good neighbors, and I'm not here to make enemies. But Brenda, she now parks at the public trailhead and walks half a mile in. Some lessons come with paperwork, others with sore feet.